Greetings, folks. My name is Brandon Thompson, aka Tom Grimm. The video you're watching is a 360-degree video, meaning if you're on your phone, you can go ahead and pan around, look up and down and all around. You can swipe from left to right, or if you're lucky enough to have one of these bad boys, you can strap it on and check out what's going on behind you, above you, and below you. So 2 weeks ago, my brother, my dog, and I departed on a 21-week adventure. For the past 5 years, I've been traveling around the country earning my way as a street musician. In between my travels, I've resided for extended periods in Nashville, Tennessee, back at home with my friends in Moorhead, and most recently, my favorite little tourist town, Eureka Springs, Arkansas. I live here with one of my best friends and my chosen aunt, the artist known as Nancy Sycamore Brooks. You are currently in Basin Park, the central gathering space of my eccentric little Ozark home in northwest Arkansas. In 2013, I desired to attend every Vikings game at the Metrodome. At one point a few years prior, my friends and I had a single extra ticket to a Vikings game. The seat next to us went empty that Sunday. Most people do not attend these events alone. So I decided to put myself out there in hopes of finding someone in a similar circumstance. Boy, did I find it. Since that Sunday, I've attended over 100 football, baseball, and hockey games with generous strangers. My signs rarely fail to get me into these events. I love the people that I meet at these games. I've encountered so many wholesome individuals, and I get to spend a good amount of time sharing stories with these folks. As iron sharpens iron, people sharpen people.
Between fans nowadays, and we have a lot more in common than we have differences.
Stay sharp, folks. In February of 2019, I began planning an adventure to make connections with fans from every single NFL team. I meticulously planned a 21-week adventure to hit all 31 stadiums in one single season. On August 1st, I left Arkansas for Minnesota to pick up my brother.
We'll edit that out. We're going. We're on the way.
A few days later, we ventured east, en route for game number 1, the New York Jets versus the New York Giants at MetLife Stadium.
All right.
Along the way, we stopped at free campsites in Indiana and Pennsylvania. We cooked our meals on a propane grill in my tailgate in the rain. Then, hiked up the mountain first thing in the morning. Later that afternoon, I left for New York, while my brother humbly watched over our camp and my dog. MetLife Stadium presented by far the most obstacles I've ever had to overcome to get into a stadium. But I still managed to find myself in the middle of some pre-game action. After walking up and down rows of tailgaters in the parking lot, I met lifelong Giants fan Moby and his family. Moby's brother-in-law was going to attend the game, but couldn't as he was staying home with his pregnant wife. The two youngsters with us, Maggie and Gary, were attending their very first Giants game. Shortly after kickoff, the game had a 45-minute storm delay where we all packed the concourse. To my surprise, they re-sang the national anthem before resuming after the storm delay. MetLife Stadium was a beautiful venue, but there were a few things that disappointed me. I was not allowed to bring my sign inside, which is not a huge deal, but I love taking pictures with it inside the stadium. I also learned that the NFL does not allow selfie sticks or tripods inside for safety concerns. A reasonable rule, but one that makes documenting my journey just a bit more difficult. I really enjoyed my time at the game and was so relieved to get the first game under my belt. I filled up my gas tank and headed back to camp. After a few hours of sleep, Carter and I struck camp and headed to Pittsburgh, and I found myself a perfect spot outside the stadium. It only took a few moments before I had my ticket. If you look to the street, you'll see Lori and Jackie crossing through traffic. They were holding 2 extra tickets, and one of them was for me. This picture is really special to me. I have never captured the moment where I receive a ticket, but this is the closest I have been. I wish I had been recording instead of taking a still. Moments later, I was enjoying the game with them. Lori had received the tickets from her bartender. She claimed that she had given them more than enough business over the years to justify the cost of the tickets. Heinz Field was gorgeous, bright and vivid with immaculate views of the Pittsburgh skyline. I even met a Vikings fan who wanted to pose for a picture. After the game, we filled up and headed off to Kansas City. We made it about 20 minutes before the transmission in my GMC gave out. Carter, Cardinal, and I spent 2 days in a parking lot while we waited for a U-Haul and car transport to become available. We walked to the laundromat to wash our clothes, played video games, and listened to the higher side chats to pass the time. Early Monday morning, I walked to U-Haul to pick up the truck, and we loaded up the car. It took us about an hour to drive to Lake Milton, Ohio, where our mom had arranged for us to stay with our aunt and uncle, Nancy and Rich. Carter and I arrived to a barbecue attended by several family members we had never met before. I was absolutely blown away by the generosity and wholesome nature of my grandmother's sister and her husband. Nancy and Rich are people we should all aspire to be like. The highlight of our time in Ohio was a hike at Mill City Park with our second cousins Jimmy and Allie. It was like we had known each other our whole lives. Instant friendship and understanding. In the wake of adversity, we had found ourselves on the most uplifting and unplanned adventure. We've got a 16-hour drive back to Minnesota to do a little work, raise a few more funds, and replace the transmission with the help of my dad. I have missed a few games this week, so in order to hit every stadium, I'm gonna have to do some rescheduling. I'm also about to throw every penny I've got into fixing my car, so I'm gearing up to work twice as hard on the road. I remain optimistic. You can follow our journey on many platforms by searching Tom Grimm. That's 2 M's in Tom, 2 M's in Grimm. I am Tom Grimm on YouTube, Tom Grimm on Instagram, Tom Grimm on Facebook, and of course, my website, tomgrimm.com. Thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe to my channel. And as always, continue to work hard for yourself and be a blessing towards others.